Salve, Discipoli. All right, we're going to take a look at lesson 50, exercise D, which is on page 292. So in this lesson, we saw deponent verbs, and we also saw special place constructions. By the way, these sentences are beastly hard. So let's get to it. All right, in the first sentence, we have a main verb of konabimor. We have an infinitive of mitera. We have a main verb of loquator. So, two verbs, two clauses. A good break would be right here at the qui. Okay, qui is nominative. We have no nominative to the left. And then all we really have else that is worth noting is nuntium and accusative, and cum quibus, cum plus the ablative, a prepositional phrase. So, we end up with we will try. Deponent verb looks passive, but is active. We will try to send a messenger who might speak, this is subjunctive, with the citizens. Okay, now, another way to read this. Since we have a relative clause starting with qui, a relative pronoun, and a subjunctive verb, you might read this as a relative clause of purpose, which would go something like this. We will try to send a messenger to speak with the citizens. Either one is acceptable. By the way, loquator is also deponent. Looks passive, but is active. All right, number one, that was fun. How about number two? Number two is insanely hard. Here we go. To understand number two, you have to first recognize that pollicatus right here is a participle. If we look at the US, we realize it's a nominative participle. So I've underlined it in green. All right. Another thing that makes this particular sentence difficult is the fact that ambulatorum is really an infinitive. It's posing as just a future active participle, but perhaps you remember that the Romans can leave out the essa if they want. So if you remember that this is ambulatorum essa, this will be an easier sentence. It's still hard, by the way, but you can handle it. All right, what else do I know grammatically? I know that may is accusative. It really could be ablative too, but I've already read the sentence. I know that rus is accusative. It really could be nominative too, but again, I understand the sentence. I know that kumamikis is a prepositional phrase. And then, in what is obviously a different clause, more or less a different clause, I see that arbitratus sum is the main verb. And oh dear God, I see another accusative. And I see another infinitive. And oh, good Lord, another infinitive. This is pure madness. So what am I going to do? Well, there's only one actual main verb here. Okay, that's why I hesitated to call this first thing a clause. Arbitratus is my main verb. Arbitratus sum is my main verb. Sum tells me the subject is I. So I'm going to go like this. I, having promised, because this is a participle, a perfect active participle because it's a deponent verb. I, having promised that, we're in indirect statement, that I will walk to the country with friends. I did not think that I ought to delay at home. So I having promised that I would walk to the country with friends, did not think that I ought to delay at home. That's a tough one. All right, moving on. Number three, proficiscentor is my main verb, and it's deponent. Videantor is another main verb, also deponent. Two verbs, two clauses, boom. All right, I'm only going to focus on some of the main cases here. Inamici is going to be nominative. That's worth noting. So what do we have? Proficiscentor is they will set out ex urbe from the city so that they do not seem hostile to the consuls. They will set out from the city so that they do not seem hostile to the consuls. Number four. Agricola is going to be a nominative. Weniebant is going to be our main verb. Facurant, also a main verb. Two verbs, two clauses. Boom. Romams, looking all accusative there. And sacra is going to be a neuter plural accusative. All right, fun stuff. Here we go. The farmers were coming to Rome from the country. There are no prepositions there in Latin. That's okay. If you want to say to Rome, since it's a city, you just put it in the accusative. Boom, to Rome. If you want to say from the country, since it's a special place, we simply put it in the ablative and say from the country. No need for a preposition in Latin. The farmers were coming to Rome from the country so that they might make sacrifices to the immortal gods. Good work. Number 5. I guess I'm talking to myself on that one. Good work, Mr. Joya. Number 5. Imperator is a nominative. Pollicatus est is a main verb. Hortatorum esse is an infinitive. Infinitives, I wonder if this is an indirect statement. We have say, which could be an accusative subject. We have pedites, which could be an accusative direct object. This is exciting. All right. The commander promised that he would encourage the infantry before the battle. Cool. The commander promised that he would encourage the infantry before the battle. Number 6. We're cruising now. Illos servos, that looks all accusative to me. What else do we have here? About main verbs. Loquuntur and rogabo right next to each other. That's madness. Oh my God, there's another one. Venirent. This is scary. 3 verbs. We probably have, that's right, 3 clauses. Well, we all know that qui, which is a relative pronoun, in the nominative case, qui, qui, quo, right? Relative pronoun. We know that that almost always starts a clause, so let's divide a clause there. We know that relative clauses almost always end with verbs, so let's divide right there. Rogabo is followed by num. We might remember that num introduces, very often, indirect questions. Ooh, let's do a clause there. By do a clause, I mean separate one. So, this is tricky. So if qui is one clause, quida loquuntur, we're going to go rogabo to illos servos. I will ask those servants who speak in the Greek language if they came from Corinth. Why did I say from Corinth? Because Corinth looks like an ablative here. So, from. I will ask those servants who speak in the Greek language if they came from Corinth. Okay, or if they have come from Corinth. Either one works. All right, let's look at number 7. Constitura, that looks like an infinitive. Conamor, that looks like a deponent verb, and it is. Debeamus, regular verb. Mitera, infinitive. Lots of infinitives here. This is obviously very exciting. All right, there's the word num again. Maybe it's leading to another indirect question. And we also have nuntium in the accusative. So, how about this? We try. But wait a minute, Mr. Joy, you can't translate that actively. It's got a passive ending. Yes, but it's deponent, so it's okay. We try to decide if we ought to send a message to that leader. So yes, it is an indirect question again. We try to decide, or we are trying to decide, if we ought to send a message to that leader. Boom, nailed it. Number 8. Legati, that looks all nominative-like. There's a main verb. How about morabuntur? I'm thinking there's going to be another verb. I'm exactly correct. Loquuntur. Very good. And here's a trap people will fall into. De is a preposition. De takes an ablative. Pakis with a short I cannot be an ablative. Okay, I'm looking at this de right here, people. De takes an ablative. Pakis is not in the ablative, so guess what? The whole prepositional phrase is going to have to include conditionibus. Pakis will be a third declension, genitive singular. So, the envoys or the lieutenants will delay in Rome as long as possible so that they might speak with the senators about the conditions of peace. The envoys will remain in Rome for as long as possible so that they might speak about the conditions of peace with the senators. You're almost done. Uh-oh. What did I do? You come back over here and get bigger. Nope, that didn't work. This is a disaster. Aha! Ha ha. All right. Here we go. We are on number 9, I hope. Number 9, proficiscar is our main verb. Loquar is another main verb. Permiseris is another main verb. Oh my god, 3 verbs. We probably have 3 clauses. Let's see, where are we going to divide clauses? If the word see, that often starts a clause. And a verb would likely end it, and then an ut starts another clause. So this will probably work out for us right here. So, what else do I want to say? Nothing else. Let's translate. Tomorrow, we get the word procrastinate from this, of course. Tomorrow I will set out if you will have allowed, or I should say, if first you will have allowed me to speak, or you could say if you will allow for me that I speak. That sounds weird. So how about if you will have allowed me first to speak with my mother? What a great sentence. I will set out tomorrow if first you will have allowed me to speak with my mother. What a good kid. All right. And finally, number 10. Cantorio, believe it or not, people, is a nominative. It goes cantorio, cantorionis. We all know the genitive, so I won't even, or we all know the gender, so I won't even tell you what it is. I think it's masculine. Cantorio, vidit, is a main verb. Renuntiaret is a main verb. And cucorit is a main verb. Oh, the insanity. Yet again, we have 3 verbs. We must have 3 clauses. We know we're going to divide a clause here after the verb. And the ut's another good place to divide a clause. The cum primum here can mean when at first, or you could say as soon as. So, the centurion, as soon as he saw the treachery of the enemy in the forest, he ran to Corinth so that he might announce the danger to the lieutenant. The centurion, as soon as he saw the treachery or the trap of the enemy in the forest, ran to Corinth so that he might announce the danger to the lieutenant. That is all we have. Rather difficult sentences. I hope you did well. Later.